But he said, we cannot beat them. David's brother heard him talking and said, hey, you just a kid. Why are you always in everybody's business? Stop talking. You in somebody's business like you're so important, all that. Have you ever had somebody talk down to you and make you feel like you're not that important? He said, you're too young, man. You can't be in that battle. Why are you always in somebody's business? You a tattletale? You always down here meddling with us? We the big boys. We handle this. Let me stop and say to you, don't let anybody make you feel like you're less. You are God's creation. Not only are you God's creation, but you're God's best creation. First and third graders, you guys have been talking about God's creation. He created the trees, He created the grass, He created the animals. Last week, y'all talked about the fact of which one came first, the chicken or the egg. And we found out the chicken came first because God made the fowl of the air, the beasts of the field. He made all of these animals. But the last thing He made before He rested was people. He made man. And the Bible says that He breathed in man, and man became a living soul. That means we got inside of us God's breath. We're God's greatest creation. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're less. You're God's best. I say it again. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're less. You're God's best. You're God's best. Long story short, David asked somebody else, hey, look, I need to know, who is this Goliath dude? I hear he's big, he's strong. I just heard what he said down in the bowl, in the valley. I'm going to fight him. He said, hey, tell King Saul I'm here and I want to talk to him. King Saul came up to him and said, hey, look, what's going on? David said to him, hey, look, I want to fight this guy, Goliath. He said, yeah, right. He said, no. I want to fight this guy. And Saul looked at him and said, dude, you're a kid. You're young. You can't do it. David said, look, there was a lion that came in to where my sheep were. And there was a bear that came in. The lion took one of my sheep. Now, the lion didn't just come in to get the sheep. He actually took the sheep. He said, when the lion came and took my sheep, I went to that lion and got my sheep out his mouth. A bear came in, grabbed my sheep, and I went to that bear and got the sheep out of the bear's hand. And when the bear and the lion turned around to come after me, I grabbed the lion by his beard. I slung him around and I cut his head off. I killed him. He said, if I can do that to a lion and a bear, what's a Goliath? If I can cut off the head of a lion and a bear, why can't I take care of a giant? Look, God gives us strength to be champions. A champion, the first thing a champion remembers their past. How God gave them a good past. Have you ever had something that you know God did and nobody else could do it but God? Have you ever known something have you ever prayed for somebody and God did something great for you and that person got well? Have you ever prayed for good grades and you know only God could have gave you some good grades because you did not study? Have you ever prayed about something and God answered your prayer? Anybody ever God ever answer your prayer? Anybody God ever answer your prayer? Look, if God did it in the past, He can do it right now. A champion remembers that God has helped them in the past. So if you ever feel like you can't do something, remember what God has done before. If you ever feel alone, He said, I'll never leave you. If you ever feel afraid, Jesus said, don't fear. If you feel like I cannot do this is hard, this work is hard, this friendship is hard, my parents are hard to The Bible says, Jesus says, I can do all things through Christ that gives me strength. Hey, a champion remembers a good past. But the second thing and the last thing a champion remembers his purpose. The Bible goes on to say that finally Saul said, okay, well, if you kill the lion, you kill the bear, guess what? Go ahead, you can take care of this Goliath. The king put on him a big helmet and all this big stuff so he can fight with. And David got ready to go out and fight, and then he realized, hey, this stuff's too big. I haven't tried this yet. I'm taking this stuff off. He said, you know what? I can't fight in this. This don't belong to me. Which means a champion knows how to be themselves. A champion doesn't have to be like anybody else. A champion knows how to be themselves. So he took off this big stuff, and he said, you know what? I got some rocks in this bag, and I got a slingshot. Everybody looked at him, it got quiet, and Goliath stepped out and said, hey, look, if you beat me, you can have the kingdom, but I'm going to come and crush you, and I'm going to take your kingdom. David looked at him, right square in his face, and he said something so amazing. David said, I killed a lion, a bear. You come in all of that stuff that you're talking about, but I come in the name of the Lord, so that Israel and everybody knows that there's a God. He says, you come talking all that crazy stuff about Philistine or Philistine. I'm coming in the name of the Lord to show you and the whole world that there is a God, and that this battle does not belong to me, it belongs to God. A champion remembers his purpose. A champion has a goal, a purpose. I used to run track. I used to run track in high school. I'm done right here. I used to run track, and I ran something called the 220, 200-yard dash. I would get on the line. 200-yard dash is a curve and a straight. And I would get on the line to get ready to run. And when the gun fired, I would take off. And I would be looking to see who was catching up with me. And every time, I would lose. Finally, my coach said to you know what your problem is? You're not focused on your goal. You're looking around, seeing who's around you, instead of keeping your eye on the goal. The next time I got on the line, I ran against a big school with some good runners. Gun went off. I kept my eye focused on the goal. Well, I would love to tell you that I won the race. I came in second. I didn't win. But I did better than I had ever done before. Because usually I would come in, and this is true, last. Because I was looking around. My coach taught me, keep your eye on the goal. Keep your eye on the goal. A champion not only remembers the victories in the past, what has happened to him in the past, but he keeps his eyes on the prize. Hey guys, I see some champions in this room. If God has done anything for you, you have a prize. You can win when you focus on